Today is the 10th of March, and as always the talking point is the British weather. So yesterday we had bright sunshine and lovely warm afternoon, and today it's blustery and stormy, and we're expecting gales in the morning. If you can look at those trees, they're swaying in the wind, westerly wind blowing. You can hear the wind, but despite all that, there are signs of spring, definitely spring on its way. And here I am standing in front of this huge larch bonsai, and if you only come close and look at some of the detail, and all these lovely little cones are beginning to appear on the tree. So I'll just walk around with the camera. I've just finished a class. I've started doing the classes again. So this morning we had a class for 5 people, specially distanced in my hall, so we were all about 4-5 meters apart. Look at what the wind is doing. See, blown the tree over. It's about to fall over. And this is the trouble with the wind. We're going to get very strong winds, and some of these tall trees would definitely get knocked over by these strong winds. I better put this on the ground in case it gets blown down some more. Of course, with the strong wind, a lot of people suffer broken pots, and then they come bringing them here, and we have to repot them. So I'm just going to walk through the tunnel. These maples have been outside all through the winter without any protection, and we had temperatures of -8 for 3-4 days. This is a Deshojo. Look at the red buds all starting to appear. Another maple with the buds starting to appear. And let's walk through the big pine area. These pines are perfect. They are not put away at all. This is the literati pine that I did, which will be subject of another YouTube video. Our big white pines. So although they're just covered with the shade netting, and they've been exposed to -8 degrees centigrade several nights running, I don't think they're suffering. Another tree, this has been outside all winter in the hard frost, and they're already starting to leave. What a lovely sight. What a lovely sight. These are our Satsuki Azaleas. The condition is beautiful. Again, no protection, just the shade tunnel. Look at that, the bright green. Lovely bright green. They're certainly looking good. These are the trees that I make for the YouTube videos. All YouTube projects. And my Japanese apricot, this has been flowering for well over a month, almost 6 weeks. This is the last of the flower. And if I walk into another area here, look at the maple here, almost completely in leaf. Look at that. So spring is really on its way. I haven't put the camera down yet, and I'm just walking to another area. And this is the tree that I split in half with the axe. Look at that beautiful flower. Look at that flower. And that was the tree that was cut in half. And this is looking good. So this is outside with no protection whatsoever. I'll just walk into another area. Now in this area, look at this great big forsythia. This is the one that is always covered in flower, and the flower buds are almost about to break into bloom. Look at that massive trunk. I don't know if you can hear the wind. The wind is really gusty. Sometimes these tall trees, I fear they get blown over, so I may get some of the staff to put them on the ground. I'll just take you for a complete walk. These are all our old trees. Again, just the protection of the shade tunnel, and it has kept them so strong and healthy and green. No need for the greenhouse. No need for the greenhouse. The other thing I want to show you, the evergreens we've started feeding already. So this is the fertilizer we use. So the trees have been fed. This was done a week ago. And this is a good time to do it. Our white pines, they've been repotted. We grow them from small to become big. And this maple here, look at that. This has been growing outside all winter and already almost in full leaf. This pine, by the way, is a Japanese 5-needle pine on its own roots. They have this slight yellowish cast, and they're different from the grafted ones. The grafted ones have got more of a deep green color, and look at how deep green my junipers are. This shade netting has prevented them from getting brown, the usual winter frost blush, what I call. And these are our Satsuki Azaleas, again in beautiful deep green condition. We didn't have to repot this batch of Satsukis because they were done last year, so they're doing quite well. They didn't have to be repotted. Some of the trees we keep outside. Another tree about to be blown over by the storm, so let's put these down on the ground. I must get the staff to do these jobs before the day is out. More maples about to come into leaf. Look at that beautiful sight. Look at that beautiful sight. All starting to leaf. Look at that. It really brings joy to the heart. This I've revived. This great big 200-year-old yew. This is one of our very old trees, and we've had this since 2005, so we've had it 16 years, and it is still being refined. A lot of people ask, how come you've got old trees? Yes, we get old trees, but they're already 3-4 generation trees, and I'm probably the 5th generation, not in the same family, but we've had 4 other generations look after that tree, and I'm carrying it on. And this is something rather unusual. This is just a rosemary bush that I dug up from my garden. This ordinary rosemary, nice trunk, and look at the flowers on this. Rosemary bonsai. So you can make rosemary into bonsai. These are our Itoigawa Junipers. These are all very long-term projects. These are imported from Japan back in the 1990s and the early 2000s. Those were the years I used to buy junipers from Japan to grow on. So they've been growing on the nursery for more than 20 years. So these trees are all 60, 80 plus years old. This puts things into perspective. Most people see my videos and say, oh, you make a bonsai in 3 minutes. So the trees are only like 3 minutes old. No thanks, it's not 3 minutes old. Most of them are, I will show you some of the yews we use. These yew seedlings here are 4 years old, and these are the ones I can make in 3 minutes. And I'll show you some other projects. This is the project that Padma Priya made. This is the Cascade Procumbens juniper. This is the back side. And this was made in about half an hour. But the trees themselves are about 8, maybe 10 years old. See, these are all 8 to 10-year-old trees that we convert into bonsai in very quick time. And while I'm here, these are the Christmas trees. This is a Christmas tree that I made maybe a year ago. I refuse to sell this. People keep worrying me to buy it, but I haven't sold this. I want to see how this develops. More forsythia coming into bloom. This is the big Trident Maple of ours, which I just pruned yesterday. So this has been pruned and it's about to come into leaf. If I show you the detail, you can see all the leaf buds, the ones that I didn't prune, just about to open into leaf. But I pruned quite hard over here. You can see all the ends that I pruned. And this is a tree, I don't think you've seen this yet, but I made this about 2 months ago. So this will be the subject of another YouTube video. This is also going to be a subject of another YouTube video. This was done last week. This is our main growing tunnel, and this tunnel has slightly elevated temperatures, so the trees grow faster here. That's my great big forest that I've owned for 1993. Nearly 30 years it's been here. Our pride and joy. These are customers' trees. We repot trees for customers because they are either too big for them to handle or they are scared to do it themselves. So these have all been repotted for customers, and they're waiting for the customers to come and collect them. Now over here we've got maples which have been in the tunnel, and just the slightly elevated temperature of the tunnel has brought these maples out into leaf. How nice is that? So if you can invest in a polytunnel like this, not as big as this, and just elevate the temperature a little bit, you will get about 1 or 2 months of extra growth. This is the Naka juniper forest that I've reconstructed and remade. This will be the subject of another YouTube video. And these are the Japanese quince, which are just coming into flower. We've got them in many different shades of color, and we produce a lot of the white ones, which we propagate. And for those who think that we don't propagate, these are our juniper cuttings. We produce a lot of junipers ourselves. More cuttings. Those are Satsuki Azaleas cuttings. These are hornbeam cuttings. And these are little projects that I did, bonsai for free, if you remember. Black pines being refined. And let me show you this famous tree of ours. This is the Tanooki Larch. Again, I've started feeding the tree, and you can see the detail of this Tanooki. Let me turn it around for you. There you go. Look at the buds. Look at the lovely buds, all coming into leaf. All coming into leaf. Is that lovely? And these are the forest groups that we make from 5-6-year-old seedlings. Those are seedlings that we grow ourselves. And here there are more seedlings and cuttings that we are sowing. These are junipers that are waiting to be refined. We grow them on as bigger specimens. You can see, look at this growth. 30 to 40 centimeters of growth has occurred between the autumn and the spring. And we will now decide whether to make this a bigger tree to plant on or to make air layerings from them. So from one tree you can get 2 trees by air layering. So all these junipers have produced all these long shoots, and I'm not in a rush to prune them off because I'm going to either make cuttings from them or grow these trees into larger trees. So we're in no rush to sell these trees because they're all being grown either for propagation to make cuttings or to make into smaller trees by air layering. So this is what we do with these trees. This is the backside of that famous maple forest of mine. These are larch forests that we make here on the nursery. These are 4 going on 5-year-old seedlings. And there you are, there are more larch forests all made here. So please don't think that everything is imported. We grow most of the things here. We are a growing nursery in more senses than one. And this is the tunnel that I've spent a lot of money refurbishing. This tunnel was completely refurbished at enormous cost. And this is where we grow all our plants. There you go, have a look. I don't know why I'm showing you all this. I'm giving you all the trade secrets. These are the big maples. You may remember that we did a YouTube video where we cut these 6-foot high tall maples, and we cut them down to 18 inches, that's 45 centimeters. And this is how the large bonsai are made. So growing a tree 6 foot tall and then cutting it down, what a stupid thing to do. A lot of people say, you must be mad. I think I am. And there are more juniper plants growing. Those are the Bloss Junipers, which again we buy as very small plants, and they've been growing here for 2 years, and they won't be sold for another 2 or 3 years. They will be sold when they're much bigger. And I'm going to wire each and every one of those. I sometimes feel like doing a video of all of them, but I can't strap a camera on my chest and work at the same time. But in the late evening, I work on these trees and make bonsai. Some of my staff also do it, but there are so many other jobs that they can be doing. I don't often take you to our growing fields, but you will all know that we have some huge growing fields. Let me just walk you through there. These are all our old junipers that are here for going on. And that's the big cedar forest that I made in the YouTube video. This is it. This is that great big cedar forest. Since making it, I've planted, so there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 trees. I've made up the number 4 to 6, 6 and 3, 9. So I've added one more tree to it. So there are 9 trees in that group. I do chop and change and keep altering the shapes of these trees. Everything looking very green. So as I say, spring is certainly on its way. And I will just show you what Jack has been doing this morning. Well, the weather's been so good lately that we've been mowing our grass for the past 2 weeks. So you can see how our Japanese gardens look. Not Japanese garden, it's all part of the nursery, but it is just kept neatly. These are our big trees that are grown here. These are all very long-term projects. We have long-term projects where trees are just grown to become older and older. We are not in a rush to sell it, and we do sell the things which are made very quickly, which don't take long time to make. So all this grass has been mown. But the maples growing in the field, they have not come out into leaf yet because they are really exposed to the cold weather. So they will come into leaf, I would say, towards the end of March, early April. I'll just walk up to some of these field-grown trees and show you the state of the foliage, because I want to compare it with those that have been grown in the tunnel, which are in full leaf. So you can get different stages of growth in different areas. So these maples, This is a Arakawa. This isn't showing signs of growth yet. But look at this. This is the white bark beech, Fagus crenata, and the leaves are already starting to open. You see they're green already. So the beech leaves are starting to come out. And this is one big area. This is about, I would say, 100 meters long, maybe more. It could be 120 meter long, by about this must be about 15 to 20 meter wide. This area we're going to use as a new planting area. This used to be the orchard, and we're going to plant our maples and pines in this area to grow into larger trees. So this has been plowed up, waiting to plant. And in 10 days' time, I'm going to get a big digger, and we're going to dig the trees up from the field. Trees that have been growing here for the last 20, 30 years. So from time to time we dig them up. These are trees that I planted 20 years ago. This is Japanese yew. So they will be dug up and made into big bonsai or big garden trees. These are the hornbeams that we've been growing in the field. And you can see all the bags around the trees. These are the air layerings that we did towards the end of last summer. And because they were started last summer, I don't think they may have rooted. So we'll keep it for another year. And I would say by the middle of the summer, these should have rooted. So this is how we propagate our big trees, with air layering bags. This is how we grow our pines. These are pines in the field. These are maples that we plant in the field to thicken. These were planted a year ago as 6-year-old trees, and they will probably be left here for about another 3 or 4 years. These are our Fuji cherries that we grow in the field. Look at them, they're all starting to bloom. So these are Fuji cherries that we grow. These are all our own production here. So they'll be grown into bigger trees. Not everything is grown permanently in the ground. All these pines have been grown in the ground, and they were dug up 2 years ago. So they're waiting to be used for projects. When people come to the nursery for workshops, they use these trees to do projects with us. These are the tall maples, which are about 3-4 meters tall, all grown for the last 20 to 30 years. And on the right hand side, these maples were all about 3-4 meters tall, and after growing at 3-4 meters, we cut it down to 60 centimeters or 70 centimeter. This is where people say that I'm crazy, but this is how bonsai is made. So more maples in the ground. We grow a lot of maples in the ground. We are self-sufficient in maple. I've always told people, this is how we produce our thick trunk maples. When you see all these beautiful maples on the nursery with thick trunks, they don't start as imported trees. We do not import our maples at all. We are proud that we produce all our maples here on the nursery. There are just thousands of maples. Eat your heart out, other nurseries. These are all our own production. These are larches. All the larches are our own production. Those are all our pines, our own production. So that's a quick tour, and I'm just passing some larches. And look at that beautiful sight of all these lovely cones on the trees, just waiting to burst open. Even the larches with just ordinary leaf buds. What a lovely sight. All beginning to leaf. So on this very dull and dreary day, look at the blue sky, leaden skies, cold wind, but spring is certainly on its way. Again, look at these seedlings for free. Holly seedlings growing inside this pot of larch. There are 4 holly seedlings there. They're all self-sown. They will all become bonsai on the nursery. Oh, I can't stop. Look at these larches, all starting to leaf. Howling gale and howling wind. More maples in the ground, thick maples, thin maples. There are 200 maples here waiting to be dug up. I will show you another clip when we have the digger here. The digger is coming in 10 days' time, and we will show you how we're going to dig this up with the digger. That will be fun. That will be great fun. So that will be the start of another journey. So these are all maples, either still growing or cut. See, these have been cut. So this is the start of another maple bonsai. More maples, thousands of maples. And here there are thousands of Hawthorne Junipers, yews. These were grown in the ground and then dug up because we can't leave them in the ground forever. Some more larch seedlings. These are already into leaf, look. So these are well advanced. We use these for making forests or into S-shaped trees. So this is herons. I hope this gives you some appreciation of how we grow our trees. This is just growing. It's not about converting into bonsai. This is how the raw material is propagated, and then this is what we use for making bonsai. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this little series. These are the junipers. They're caught by frost, so they've got that brown blush. Normally they should be bright green, but they're not dead. A lot of people look at these brown trees and they think they're dead. And those are our big Zelkova trees reaching to the sky. They will just help to improve the environment, to give us clean air. So they will not be cut down to make into bonsai. They will be there just to give us pleasure. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this little walk.